It's your boy Matt here. These here, that's my meds. I take a medication called escitalopram. It's an antidepressant. I have to take it because if I don't, I have panic attacks. I have panic attacks because my body has been traumatized. Okay? I've had consistent abuse from all kinds of different vectors. I've been enslaved by the army and signals. I've had most of my life taken from me and most of the opportunities for my life to advance taken from me. I was the only man working as a psych in my industry, and that resulted in me having to deal with all the life and death situations. Before that, I was also dealing with that shit. I've done this in a very broken and corrupt for-profit healthcare system where the well-being of their employees is not cared for, and at the same time I'm required to do work which is just so much far beyond the ability of my colleagues and the capability of my colleagues that they can't really relate to it. That's because, put plainly, they are women and they get a much easier go of this shit than I do. When you're a guy in this field, every single case, particularly through my program, which was the 4+2 program, and the situation where I'm in, where all the people who come from who have complex presentations, who live below the poverty line and can't afford to see a psych through any other means, remembering that my role as the behavior therapist as well is to manage their support network and make sure no one burns down a fucking house, is that running down of you and the continuous abuse that I've experienced means that I will never be able to function without these, okay? And when I'm off these, I have panic attacks. I've had to become super sensitive to threat because if it's not my family who is fucking me over and trying to ruin my life, it's some corporate shit fuck who's trying to keep me down so that they can maintain, so that they don't feel guilty for the crimes that they've fucking committed, that I've had to report. If it's not that, I'm dealing with being arse raped by people in the military and these actual fucking fascists who've decided that they want to work for organizations like the Signals Directorate. I've had to deal with an actual fucking militia, an actual fucking fascist militia. I've had to deal with all these terrible things, and I do this without any support from my friends or family. I deal with it while being actively held down, raped and belittled. I have all the money and opportunities stolen from me over and over again. I've had to escape my family, who are fundamentalist religious people who did everything they could to control me and dominate me. And if I don't have these tablets, I have panic attacks because I have to be sensitive to threat. And if I don't pick up on threat and respond to it proportionately, bad things happen to me. Okay? I have been fighting a fucking war. That's what's fucking been happening. Right? Now, every time I've had a miscalculation of a threat, right? So there was one instance where I thought that a PowerPoint at my place hadn't been there, and all of a sudden it was there, and that freaked me out, right? That was when I was not on my medication. If I'm not on this because I've been so horrifically abused, I will have a panic attack. Now, there's been one instance in my life where I've had something resembling mania, and that was a situation when I went on an alternative medication called Brintalex. Remembering that I've had many of my opportunities taken from me and have been made into the very bottom of society over and over again, right? The consistent trauma of that means that I need to have a medication, and these ones have some side effects, right? Most famously, they make it so I can't fucking come, which is great for edging to porn, but it also means that it's very difficult to have basic human dignities such as a regular sex life, and having had my entire life stolen from me multiple fucking times and held down in a position of poverty, and having my opportunities repeatedly stolen from me, having basic fucking normal relationships has been a little bit fucking difficult, you know. So the only situation I had which was resembling that was when I changed medication, and previously I'd spent a month high on acid, and that was amazing for soul searching and personal development, highly recommended. Went on this Brintellec stuff, did not work out well for me. That was around 3 or 4 years ago. But in the meantime, I've had to deal with abuse from every fucking vector. And the worst part is when people look at me and my behavior and they don't understand the capabilities that I've had to endure and develop, and they look at this guy who's able to exhibit aggression, extreme levels of aggression, and they think must be mania or something, and that would be very convenient for them if I was insane, because then they don't need to think through and understand what they have fucking done. Like, if you were saying that this person's a crazy person, you no longer need to look at your actions and reflect on it. And you also don't need to understand just how fucking terrible you are, and you get to try and isolate that person even more, which is just a fantastic ethical thing to do to someone who has, you know, provide the service to the community that I have and has had to deal with the permanent scars because of that. There's a metaphor that Jordan Peterson uses, and I'm not sure if it applies as much to humans as it does to animal models, but it's always that famous thing about the lobsters and giving them fucking serotonin so that they feel like they're going up in a pecking order. What you need to understand is that I have been made to be at the bottom of every pecking order by forced abuse, okay? And at the same time, I'm required to show leadership and all these things, and I cannot do it without my fucking meds, because if I'm not on these, I cannot function. And the responsibilities which I need, which are on my shoulders, are not possible without these. But the problem is that I will have people try and stop me from getting my fucking medication. I've had to deal when my sister, when she was trying to dominate and control me, and this is why if I am given the opportunity, I will kill that woman. And it's in self-defense. She's tried to enslave me. And it's very appropriate to kill a person who's tried to enslave you. That's self-defense. And I will have my freedom one way or another. And if that's after 5 or 10 years in prison, I'm very happy with that. But the issue is that without this fucking shit, I can't function. And when she came into my life, I had not had my medication and I could not function. And when she was trying to take control of it, she lied to the psychiatrists at the Canberra hospital, and she told me that they would give me my medication at the hospital, and that I go there, and no, they did not give me my medication. I was tortured and abused. I was tortured, probably a bit of a stretch. They told me I wasn't a psychologist, even though my name was I'd fucking been practicing. They told me that I had lost my registration because of malpractice, and that there were and these things, which was never true. So they just kept trying to find a way to abuse me and keep abusing me. And then when I talked back at them, they said that I was displaying symptoms of mania. The horrific experience of that, of being just abused by my sister, and the prolonged events afterwards where I've had to explain that, hey, was actually an asset to intelligence. Hey, I run in some complex circles. Hey, I'm a veteran. Hey, I write involved in think tanks and all these shit. And it's like, when you have a family of people who are built their identity around a pecking order, and are as horrifically arrogant as the people in my family, it's very dangerous to have been made a vulnerable person. My brother experienced this firsthand because he was the first person in our family to acknowledge he likely had autism. Seeing as that my sister is autistic, my father is autistic, most of my nieces and nephews display symptoms of autism or ADHD, and they're also very bright people on top of that. Like, he was marginalized terribly by our family because our family comes with a lot of traditional baggage, very hierarchical, and if they can marginalize a person to bring themselves up in that pecking order, they will do that. And that's what they did to my brother. And whilst our father is obviously autistic, he's autistic to the point where he will have cognitive distortions. So he will say, like, he's completely separated from reality, like, because the way he processes information is not adaptive. Like, for example, you'll have a conversation and a disagreement with him, and he will say, "You said you were a bad person," or something like that. It's like, when you wouldn't have said that, you would have said something that you disagreed with him about, and because of the nature of his autism and the compounded cognitive distortions which have developed over time, the way he processes information is such that he cannot keep track of reality and what's going on around him. And our entire family, as a patriarchal system, has developed around pretending our father was not batshit fucking crazy and autistic and really a useless cunt, right? And there's a whole lot of bad problems with that. But when you've been made into a vulnerable person and the efforts have been made so that you don't get your fucking medication, it's terrible. It's terrible. What people with power and authority, it's rarely, in my experience, use it appropriately. You always want to have control over your life. You never want it taken from you, because you're going to be subject to the biases, poor judgment decisions, and other problems when you are made into a vulnerable person and people need to care for you. Do you know what would be care for me? Give me my fucking money, okay? Stop the embargo so that I can get my money through GoFundMes and similar things. That's how I should be fucking cared for. And I don't need to live in a fucking homeless village where violence is a skill set which I need to hone and use potentially, and I have to be very aware of escalation cycles. That's what you can fucking do. You can stop the abuse and the surveillance of me if you want to care for this vulnerable person that the system has made a vulnerable person despite them being incredibly capable, right? That is what we could fucking do, hey? Fuck the government, fuck my sister. I'd kill her given the opportunity, given how she's behaved. And you need to understand, when you have been abused like this and you have people who have acted in such a way that your dignity and freedom gets taken away from you, you are not a free person. Violence is not an issue. It's just you can kill a person and they're just dead now, and it doesn't make your situation particularly worse, because prison is not a worse place for me to be, right? Yeah. Fuck you, psychiatrist. You've ruined my fucking life, Lynette, and I would love to kill you.